Seymour here. Please like and subscribe to this video. So today I'm going to talk about the Formula 1 qualifying, my analysis of what happened and further details of the qualifying results, my opinions on all of the cars. I watched the qualifying, it was okay. I mean, I'm only really excited about this because it's been away for so long, the Formula 1 or the F1. But I've been watching this weekend so far, just the qualifying. I just followed the practices on my phone and didn't watch any of it. But I did watch the qualifying. So, in 20th place after the qualifying session was Nicholas Latifi. I mean, I don't know much about this guy, but he did okay. He was about half a second off Kimi Raikkonen, who came second last, but he did okay. He did better than what I thought, but I just haven't heard of Nicholas Latifi. Apparently he brings a lot of money to Williams, so he's a pay driver, but I don't really get what I think he's okay, but nothing really special like George Russell. Then I've got Kimi Raikkonen. Well, that was a really bad session for Alfa Romeo. I mean, their car this year is as bad as the Williams. I mean, Kimi Raikkonen was nowhere compared to Antonio Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi was better than him in all the practices, and yeah, just in qualifying as well. But tomorrow I do think that Kimi Raikkonen will beat Giovinazzi in the race. Giovinazzi isn't further enough ahead, and Kimi Raikkonen is more of a racer than a qualifier. So next we've got Antonio Giovinazzi. Again, their car isn't very great this year, Alfa Romeo. They're going to be battling probably with the Williams for last place. Now I can actually see what the cars do. It's the first session I've watched this year that I've actually taken note in. And Antonio Giovinazzi did okay. Do I think he'll be in F1 next year? I mean, he's lost his chance to go to Ferrari next year because Carlos Sainz Jr. already is. So I think Ferrari might go into IndyCar and he'll probably be their driver. I mean, he's like 20. I thought he was like the same age as Charles Leclerc, but he's like 26. So Antonio Giovinazzi is just misplaced in F1. Like, I think he should go to Ferrari. And then we've got George Russell. IndyCar on Antonio Giovinazzi. Next we've got George Russell. I mean, he did an amazing job in that Williams. Probably the equal slowest car, or the slowest, just about. George Russell is an amazing talent and one to look out for the future. And yeah, George Russell just did a really good job, and he was really consistent and always he beat the two Alfa Romeos. So what can I say? He did better than what I expected. I was expecting him. I didn't say this on the video because I only did my top 6 in qualifying, but I think that George Russell was expected to qualify 19th. He qualified 17th without any breakdowns or mechanical problems of anyone in front. I mean, or any penalties on the grid or anything. To get 17th is an amazing result for him. So well done to George Russell. Next we've got Kevin Magnussen. I mean, I don't know what to say about the Haas. Last year they were very quick in qualifying. This year they just seem a bit slow, but they're still faster than Alfa Romeo. But I just don't know what to say about Kevin Magnussen. And also now the Ferrari engine is probably the slowest in F1. And then we've got Romain Grosjean, same problem as Magnussen. Set identical lap times in Q1, but I think Grosjean set his lap first, so he progressed. But again, I don't know. Romain Grosjean just he's struggling in his car. Next is Esteban Ocon. I mean, I just don't rate this guy. I mean, he was okay, but I just don't rate him at all. I just don't see what all the hype is about surrounding Esteban Ocon. I just don't think that he's much good, really, compared to Daniel Ricciardo. But he's a bit of a Nico Hülkenberg, maybe a bit worse than Nico Hülkenberg. Like, I don't think he'll ever get a podium or a win, but he could prove me wrong still. Next is Daniel Kvyat, the Russian driver. That's probably where AlphaTauri really are in terms of their pace. I just don't really rate that team this year. Last year they were very good, but I just think the name change really put me off the team. I used to love Toro Rosso. I was gutted when they changed name. But Daniel Kvyat did okay, but he was still out-qualified by his teammate. Next is Pierre Gasly. All I can really say about him is that he's okay. He's probably the most inconsistent, one of the most inconsistent drivers in F1. But they both are, really. Pierre Gasly, I mean, I just don't... I think he's okay, but that's probably where the pace of the car was, about 12th. Now in 11th is Sebastian Vettel. I was hugely surprised at how uncompetitive the Ferrari was. I mean, it was completely rubbish, the Ferrari this year. It's probably as worse than what it was in 2014, which was Ferrari's last bad year. And yeah, so Ferrari, yeah, they just did terribly in that session, particularly Sebastian Vettel. I think this will probably be his last year in F1. And then we've got Daniel Ricciardo in Renault. He was a bit better than Esteban Ocon, because I think the Renault probably had the pace to be about 11th to 12th. Esteban Ocon was just a bit slow today. But Daniel Ricciardo, yeah, he did a good job to get into Q3. He did a very, very good job to get into Q3 and outperform his teammate. But that's all I'm going to say about Daniel Ricciardo. If not, it will go on for too long. Next, we've got Lance Stroll. I just don't really rate this guy, but he's definitely doing better than what he did last year. But he does have a very, very fast car. It's basically a 2019 for Mercedes, sorry. Yeah, so it's just like a year-old Mercedes. And he didn't beat Perez, so I rate him about average. His car would have qualified about 7th, 8th place. But he did a good job for him. I think he'll be more racy tomorrow, though, because he's a better racer than qualifier. Next is Carlos Sainz. Yeah, he did okay. I mean, the McLaren has improved, that is for sure. They've done a good job recently. It's not like the GP2 engine and a shit car anymore. McLaren have definitely done a good job to improve their speed. But that was bad because Lando Norris completely outqualified him. Next is Charles Leclerc. Again, that was terrible from Ferrari, but great from Charles Leclerc to show us that he is a wild talent. But I just can't see Ferrari being anywhere this year after that performance. Their car is probably worse than what it was in 2014, the last bad Ferrari. So, yeah, that was a really, really bad session from Ferrari. That was just like, Ferrari sucked in that session. They're probably the biggest disappointing car of this year, equal with the Alfa Romeo. Next is Sergio Perez. I mean, that was excellent from Racing Points. Yeah, Racing Point. I mean, that was crazy how fast their car is. How much they've built with such a little budget compared to Ferrari and other big teams like that. Their car is completely amazing this year. I actually think that they'll be a dark horse for a few podiums with Perez. Then we've got Alexander Albon. Again, he did okay, but he was nowhere near the pace of his teammate. Yeah, he's a good driver, but not an excellent driver. Next is Lando Norris, probably my driver of the equal driver of the day today. Yeah, so he did an amazing job. I didn't really rate this guy before today, really. Last year I thought he was average to good, or good. Yeah, I just thought he was good. I thought he was a bit overrated till I saw him today in qualifying. I think he did an amazing job. To qualify 4th place in the McLaren when his car should have been about 6th to 7th was really good. He definitely outperformed that car today. So he's definitely my equal driver of the day. Great performance by Lando Norris. Well done. Next is Max Verstappen. He did an amazing job in qualifying. I'm calling him to win the race tomorrow, but he's been more racy. Even in the practice sessions, he was setting up his car to do long distance to make his tyres last longer than everyone else, I think, and stuff like that. But I could be proven wrong, and he could finish 3rd tomorrow. But I think he's going to win the race. Next is Lewis Hamilton. I mean, I had the guy to finish 1st, but he's somehow disappointed me and finished 2nd. I mean, he just didn't perform in that qualifying session compared to what he's used to when he's like 0.2 quicker than his teammate. That he just didn't perform for Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he just disappointed me, really. He should have been 1st. Or, but the only advantage really is that he wasn't out qualified by much by his teammate. I'm sure he's disappointed in that, even Lewis Hamilton is. And now we've got Valtteri Bottas, the equal best performer of the day with Lando Norris, in my opinion. He was really, really good today. The Mercedes is half a second quicker than anyone else in qualifying, but I still think the Red Bull is the best race car in race terms with Max Verstappen. I think Max Verstappen will win tomorrow, not by much, but I'm saying that Max Verstappen will win. But Valtteri Bottas, going back to Valtteri Bottas, he was so quick. In all 3 sessions, he was so quick. He set the fastest lap after fastest lap in all the sessions. It was crazy. I mean, I've never seen him perform like that before in qualifying and practice. I mean, particularly qualifying. I mean, he really, really stepped it up to a new level to prove to Mercedes that he can perform and match Lewis Hamilton, just like Nico Rosberg did before him. But I really, really rate that by Valtteri Bottas. I would give him about 9.5 out of 10, and the same for Lando Norris. That was excellent performances from both guys, and I'm going to say thanks, bye.